Good morning. It's been a while again, episode to episode. Lots been happening. And today I want to talk about the nature of change because it's playing such a big part in my life, as I'm sure it is for most of you. The one dependable. The one thing you can bank on is that all things change. And I don't know about you, but I find comfort in that. It's leading to an equilibrium, a balance. Change is the agent of equilibrium if you learn to respond correctly with change and its effect on the rhythm of life. And because the change has been very insistent for me recently, and I looked at the nature of change, and inherent in its nature is its relentlessness. It just keeps on. And probably the seed, the fermentation of this sharing started months ago, the last half year, and it was coupled with the volcanic eruptions on the big island of Hawaii. Talk about relentless. Unprecedented. And the change that these volcanoes, the lava, wrought on the island, things that existed for some time no longer existed, but inherent in the destruction, the end of something new was born. And it's really yet to be revealed just what the new changes have and are going to mean for the residents of Hawaii. It's easy to bemoan the past. Oh, this was, but things come and things go. When I first came to Walgan many years ago, on the way out to the coast, there used to be a bend in the road with the most beautiful little grotto. And it's unmarked, had a couple small little pullover space, just as you were heading up the hill. But on the hot days, I would head to that little grotto and really appreciate it. Was so cool, damp, even on the hottest, most brutally hot days. It was a little sanctuary, and I enjoyed it every time. I made a point of stopping there. Well, they widened the road, and guess what? The sanctuary was no more. I wondered if I was sorrowed by this, and I wondered if anybody even gave pause to the impact. I like to think so, but probably, most likely not. I'm sure the workers didn't hesitate as they plowed it under. Progress, after all. So this relentlessness, this change that we saw on the Big Island, it was, I think of my friend John Martin and his refusal to evacuate along with a handful of other people. Even when the roads were totally closed, they were cut off from civilization. But he determined that his roots were down and he was going to see it through, come what may. He's a warrior, and he bonded with the group even though he was a mainland America transplant and a refugee from Kauai via Sedona. He was embraced by the real Hawaiian local community, and it had in a great part to do with his fearlessness. And they bonded, this small group of people, and they had a profound effect on each other. So in the throes of turmoil, life-threatening chaos, the small people bonded and took care of each other. And like in times, the commonality of times like this is that a matriarch rises as the center of the community. And so too for John and friends. But to experience it vicariously through his sharings is intermittent. As he had power or as he had access to the internet, he would share what was going on with him and those around him. Great times. Kind of lived through it vicariously. But this relentless change. Now to fast forward to my current life. Today's video represents an end of an era, so to speak, if I could be so bold or grandiose in thinking these big arenas. This will be the last Zen with a smile from my little meditation room / studio, and I use the word studio lightly because it's very rudimentary, but I worked on the lighting a little bit, a little lamp to this one, so maybe the lighting is finally getting better. I'm satisfied with the little lavalier mic and the sound that I've been getting. So, relentless change in my life. For the last couple of weeks, I've been packing up my wife and my things and our 2 kitties' stuff, and we're moving to a bigger and better house. It's a step up. And who knows when I'll get settled in enough to set up. I don't even know where my meditation / studio is going to be in the house. But the house is huge. 4 bedrooms, 3 stories, 4 bedrooms, 5 baths, covered parking garage. It's a nice move up for us. So I will. But as you can imagine, as I celebrate my 31st, wishful thinking, 71st birthday, everything gets a little bit tougher. And my 13th move in the last, since I've been in Taiwan 22 years, my 13th move is harder and slower. Of course, I always try to pare down, but somehow just accumulate stuff. So I'm sorting and packing. One good thing about moving, and you have to look for something good because it's an arduous task that no one really relishes. But it's a time to pare down and thin out. So I'll be moving from my 11th-story 4-bedroom apartment that served us well for the past 4.5 years. But I'll be happy to get out of here. I think the foremost I'm looking forward to is walking out my front door and being on ground level. That'll be something. And even when I go up to the 3rd floor, will be where I sleep. It's only 2 stories down to ground level. Much better than the 11th. And no elevator. I'm sensitive. My aura is sensitive to outside influences, as is all of ours. Whether or not, the difference being how aware of it that you are. But I'm very aware, so I really don't. I love the elevator can come from the 11th floor, take me to the ground level or the basement level where I park my car without anybody stopping and getting in. Pretty selfish, I know, but coming in and I'm confined in that limited space of an elevator with whoever and whatever they bring in with them. Most people just simply aren't aware of the crap they carry. But every once in a while there's a nice smile, and it's really not all bad. Since there's only 4 units on each floor and there's 12 floors in the building, there's really not, and 2 elevators, there's really not that much. It's not inevitable that most times I can get to the ground floor unscathed. But this relentless change, this change and everything that it means to me and mine, it's all good, moving ahead. But there'll be a lot I miss about. I've made this little room a sanctuary and feel peaceful and very creative herein. But what I set up there will be at least equally as good. I've mentioned previously that my brother, my younger brother, 2 years younger, and all the energy he brings. His energy is incredible. Just getting he had a surf shop in Hawaii, moved everything to here. Now he's almost established his new shop here. Incredible hard work, incredible amount of energy. And not only does he work hard, but he has a really fantastic sense of style. And he makes beautiful environments. And his new shop is incredible. It's smaller than his Honolulu shop. But he gets to live upstairs, so he doesn't have to have a 25 to 45 minute commute depending on traffic conditions and the time of day that he'd been doing 7 days a week for at least the last 20 years. So, progress for him. And it's so funny to see the similarities between brothers. We're both Pisces, 2 fish, so lots of astrological similarities. But the differences are clear. I'm essentially low energy, slow moving, albeit quick thinking. But my relationship to the world around me is pretty fluid. I blend in. My brother, on the other hand, gets his feeling of life when he's essentially doing battle, when he's using his energies to impact and change, at least change his illusion around him, in the hopes, I think, of control. But anyway, he's high energy, go, 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 and he as brothers do. He kind of laughs at me that I move so slow that you have to look twice to see that I moved. Even my wife teases me. But I've got a very zen kitty, Pepper, who is on a similar wavelength to me. And in the spirit of change, we got a young female abandoned, homeless kitty that we brought into our household, and she's high energy. That's Butter. She's unbelievable, and she's just trying to stir up the two unmovable, me and my buddy Pepper. But I think it's good for him. And the change, at first he resisted, got a little depressed maybe because he used to be the center of attention. But she gets him moving, just as my brother gets me moving. Encourages to do good things. I've been a active bicycle rider for years, and he got into this through me, because in our childhood we were relentless bike riders, and we're back into it again. So that's something he appreciates. But he wants to get me in the water more, because I've gotten away after growing up surfing. I've gotten away from that somewhat, so his influence is to get back in the water. My lower body, my legs are fantastically fit, but my upper body needs some work, posture included. But this is a good thing. His energy affects me, and I take it in a positive way. But I was sharing with someone about this site, and we were watching part of it, and my brother is sitting at the table, and he just yawned. Signifying, that communicating to me that maybe I needed a little more excitement, or a little more, I watched the YouTube videos, and this is what people like. Oh, you want to get more viewers, you gotta move. And I'm exhausted just from that little display. But this is me. And I'm more interested in the calming effect, potential healing effect of my voice. As a lot of my followers are non-native speakers, and after years of university professor here in Taiwan who communicated in English to students whose abilities are so varied and wide, I've tried to perfect my diction, my enunciation, my clarity, my ability to explain things in multiple ways when I see by eye contact that they're just not getting it. So I don't come to my YouTube and be something different. I even try to be something different than I inherently am. And maybe as a consequence, my followers and viewers are not of a great number. Pretty small, actually. But I've always thought that if I say 10 words that help one person amidst my 180 half-hour videos, if I can help one person, if any of the words that I've shared has been meaningful to this one person in any way, I feel successful. And this is my intent. So again, I watch other YouTube videos just to see what people are doing, and people love to watch gamers, people playing games. So it's one step, I guess, beyond but playing games, your computer or video games yourself. This growing audience of people who like to watch other people doing something. And they have to be very animated, and all the hints that I looked at about improving performance. I was interested in the physical things. Get the lighting a little bit better. I just added another light, so I think today will be better than it's been in the past. I've just been lit from this side. But we'll see. That remains to be seen. Today is... It's really interesting that on the last day of this process, in the conditions that I'm in right now, that I introduced something new. Hopefully an improvement. But it's been an incredible journey. It was a test, I have to honestly admit. I'm looking at these videos as the pinnacle of my life. I told my brother the other day that life is better for me than it's ever been in my 71 years, and I meant it sincerely. He looked at me like, kind of, really? But these sharings represent the accumulation of nearly 60-year meditation practice, an examination of many forms, teachers, only to arrive at Zen, and more particularly Rinzai Zen, that resonated with me personally after a vigorous search and many years, at least 30 solid years during of the 60, half the time, in some way denying discipline in attempts to control, quiet the mind was the most challenging, because not only have I yet to do it, but now I'm firmly on the side that it can't be done. Two things can be done. Trivializing the nonsense, the monkey mind, trivializing it, recognizing it, being entertained by it as if you're watching a movie. Something that my studies in human design reinforced. We're a passenger in a vehicle speeding through life faster than the speed of light. It feels that way to me. And we need to be entertained by this movie. And the image of a movie enhances the maya, the impermanence, the made up. Who and what most of us think we are is just a figment of our imagination. And this is reality. It's pretty humorous when you look at it. And I tend to try to keep a humor about everything, beginning with moi, me. I find myself very comical. I love laughing at myself. It just helps me not to take things so seriously. Because I have a propensity to be a serious man. So I have to look and find the humor in that itself. So the lesson, what I was going to share about my brother when he yawned. I took it as he just found me boring. Put him to sleep, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe my efforts can help people sleep. What a blessing that would be to me. Maybe some subliminal lessons could be learned as they fade off into sleeping. So if my videos put you to sleep, so be it. Go to sleep. With my full heartfelt blessing. But I still reacted. There's a dynamics, brothers, right? I'm big brother, he's young brother, but there's a dynamics there. And we know it's any close relationship. People know your buttons. And I find myself reacting in a way that is counter to how I am about everything else. And it signifies to me that I'm working on this personal arena still, not to react. But I've got so that my reactions are quicker and finished. I'm able to catch myself. But at first I reacted, boring, put you to sleep. And my immediate response was kind of, but I didn't respond. In fact, I turned it around to what I just shared, because I know that he has trouble sleeping. So maybe he can tune in and I can put him to sleep. Job well done. So amongst this tumultuous, relentlessly changing world, we have to look for I hesitate to use the word accomplishments, our participation. And don't flatter ourselves by thinking that we have this huge impact of any import. If we can give someone pause, if they pause from the throes of this relentless change that life inherently, unavoidably is, if there's a pause, if there's some slowing down between heartbeats, this gives me a profound sense that what I'm doing or what I'm not doing can contribute in some way. See, my smile reached my eyes. My eyes kind of close when I'm really smiling. But any sense of total quiet, silence is in that pause between breaths, between heartbeats. So when you consciously slow your life down to a point that you notice the pause, you notice the space between the heartbeats, there's your quiet and peace. your stillness. So you have to sharpen your perceptions and look once again to the small things in life, because life indeed is made up of small things until we get a new benchmark brought about by relentless change that we use as a celebratory indicator of changing events, people, things in our life. For me, music, many memories are tied to songs, as for many of us. A song will immediately bring back some face, some experience, some time. And these glimpses of the so-called past, indistinguishable from the future somehow. Past, future, they're all occurring simultaneously right now. So when you reminisce, when a song reminds you of person, place, or thing, that experience is in real time. You're in the past while being, most importantly, in the present, and by default, almost in the future. When I think of past and future, I used to say I'm forward-looking, future. And then sometimes nostalgia, past. But if I try to balance them, if I try to say, okay, is the past, would I trade the past for the future? Of course not. Would I trade the future for the past? Of course not. But which way would I tilt? Would I lean to the past? Would I lean to the future? And once you understand that it's all right now, these measurements, like many things, become meaningless. You can experience in the now your past and your future. Nothing's gone. Nothing's coming except change. Relentless change. So buckle up and smile.